36 hours after Daniel Rook opened his largest clothing launch, every hoodie was sold. 5,000 orders had arrived. The website showed $400,000 in sales, and customers were already asking when the next collection would appear. It looked like the moment his small brand had finally become safe. 3 weeks later, Daniel was staring at the same business, wondering how a sold-out launch had left $13,200 missing from its bank account. This is an original fictional story about Kestrel Row, a small online clothing label built by Daniel and his operations manager, Nina Vale. The brand did not have famous investors, celebrity endorsements, or stores in expensive neighborhoods. It had one rented studio, a small warehouse partner, and a loyal group of customers who liked simple clothes made from heavy fabric. For 2 years, Daniel had grown carefully. He released small batches, photographed them himself, and answered customer messages late at night. Some launches sold well. Others left boxes sitting on shelves for months. Every unsold item represented cash that could not pay a factory, an advertisement, or a salary. Daniel learned to fear excess inventory. He also learned to celebrate the words every young clothing brand wants to see: sold out. The new hoodies seemed different from everything before it. Samples received strong reactions. A waiting list grew. Short videos of the fabric and fit were shared thousands of times. Daniel increased the order to 5,000 units, more than double the size of any previous launch. At $80 each, a complete sellout would create $400,000 in gross sales. Producing the hoodies required a commitment months before customers paid. Manufacturing cost $26 per unit, or $130,000 in total. Daniel paid half as a factory deposit. He also paid early advertising costs and prepared the warehouse. By launch morning, the business had only $18,000 left in the bank. Daniel was nervous, but demand appeared stronger than ever. When the website opened, orders arrived faster than the warehouse could print labels. Sizes disappeared one after another. Nina watched the inventory count fall while Daniel refreshed the sales dashboard. After 36 hours, the final hoodie was gone. Gross sales reached $400,000. Daniel did not see 5,000 future parcels, possible returns, or delayed payments. He saw proof that demand had become larger than supply. The factory had warned him that production space for the next month was limited. If he waited, a second batch might arrive too late. Customers were asking for a restock, and the sold-out page made the opportunity feel urgent. So Daniel ordered 6,000 more hoodies. The new batch would cost $162,000, and the factory required a 60% deposit. Daniel approved $97,200 before the first launch had fully reached its customers. The decision did not feel reckless. It felt efficient. The first batch had sold 5,000 units. The waiting list was still growing. A larger second batch reduced the risk of disappointing customers. Daniel believed he was using the first launch's success to finance the next one. But the number on a sales dashboard is not the same as the money a business can safely spend. The first difference was payment timing. Customers had paid $400,000, but the payment company deducted about $12,000 in fees. Because the launch was unusually large for Kestrel Row, it also held a temporary 10% reserve in case of disputes and refunds. $40,000 would arrive later. The immediate payout was $348,000, added to the $18,000 already in the bank. The company had $366,000 available. That still looked comfortable. Then the obligations behind the sold-out launch began to arrive. The remaining factory balance was $65,000. Freight and import costs were $25,000. Packaging and fulfillment required $35,000. Unpaid marketing invoices added another $30,000. Daniel paid the $90,000-$200,000 deposit for the larger second batch. Payroll, warehouse charges, software, and other overhead added $28,000 more. Together, those immediate payments used $280,200. The bank balance fell to $85,800. The company had sold everything, but most of the cash had already been assigned a job. Then the returns began. A hoodie can look perfect in a photograph and still feel wrong when it arrives. Some customers needed a different size. Some disliked the color under normal light. Others had purchased 2 sizes intending to keep one. None of these customers had done anything unusual. Returns were a normal part of online clothing. But Daniel had treated the launch as if every sale were final. Over the following weeks, 22% of the hoodies came back. 1,100 refunds required $88,000. Return shipping, inspection, cleaning, folding, and repacking added another $11,000. The return wave needed $99,000 in cash. Kestrel Row had only $85,800 available. The gap was $13,200. The strange part was that the returned hoodies had not vanished. Many could be sold again. The payment reserve would also be released later. On a long-term spreadsheet, the business still owned valuable inventory and expected more cash. But a returned hoodie could not pay Friday's payroll until another customer bought it. Money arriving next month could not settle an invoice due today. This is why a profitable-looking company can run out of cash. Revenue records what customers bought. Profit estimates what remains after the economic cost of those sales. Cash flow tracks when money actually enters and leaves the bank. The 3 numbers are related, but they do not move together. Fast growth often makes the gap between them larger. Daniel's mistake was not producing a popular hoodie. It was committing nearly $100,000 to the next batch before the first batch had completed its full cash cycle. He had counted temporary sales as settled cash. He had counted returned inventory as if it were still money. And he had treated a waiting list as if every name on it were a guaranteed future order. The consequences arrived quietly. Advertising stopped because the card limit was reached. The warehouse asked for payment before releasing more parcels. Customer service replies slowed as Nina tried to manage refunds. The factory paused the second production run until the next payment was confirmed. Kestrel Row had more demand, more inventory, and more sales than ever before, but less freedom to make decisions. Daniel and Nina did not solve the problem with another dramatic launch. They opened a weekly cash forecast. They separated money required for refunds, tax, payroll, and suppliers from money available for growth. Daniel negotiated with the factory to reduce the second run and divide the remaining payments into stages. Returned hoodies were inspected quickly and placed into a controlled restock instead of disappearing into warehouse boxes. They also changed the rules for future launches. Expected returns were deducted before any reorder decision. A launch had to complete at least 30 days of deliveries and returns before the next production commitment. Reorders were based on net kept sales, not the first sold-out number. The company kept a minimum cash reserve large enough to cover payroll, normal refunds, and 1 delayed payout. The next collection did not sell out in 36 hours. Daniel produced fewer units, spent less on advertising, and watched the bank balance as closely as the sales dashboard. After 1 month, some inventory remained. The launch looked less exciting online, but refunds were covered, suppliers were paid on time, and the company still had enough cash to choose what to make next. That was the lesson Daniel had missed. Selling out is a signal of demand, not proof of financial safety. Growth becomes useful only when the cash arrives before the obligations become urgent. Returns are expected, and the next decision does not depend on perfect conditions. A business can survive unsold inventory. It can survive a slower launch. What it cannot survive for long is running out of time and money at the same moment. Big outcomes often begin with small reasons.
It's perfect.
Let's get to work.